Saturday, and I'm live because I have Ben's here, and we're gonna do a quick raffle, but we're gonna talk about some other stuff. Say hi, Ben's.
Hey, how's it going, everyone?
Yeah, so far we got Brenda and Jim, and they're saying howdy do. Sorry to cough on you guys.
Awesome.
I remember I told you, so I told Ben's earlier I had a sore throat, and like really bad. This is my sore throat story. You guys are gonna hear it because it's very frustrating. But so I have this really bad sore throat, and I wake up at 9:30 this morning, and no, 3:30. Excuse me, 9:30, not 3:30, and I couldn't sleep at all. Like wake up at 3:30, my throat hurts so bad, and so I'm just waiting to go to the store and get ibuprofen at 5:15 ago, and then I come back. I'm waiting for my kids to wake up so I can go to urgent care. Hi Patricia and hi Julie. And so I get to urgent care, and it's some kid who's a PA, which is what I am, and he's like probably been out all of a year or something, maybe 2 years, maybe 5 years. I don't know. He looks really young. And this is the thing, guys. This is my doctor's office, so they have my charts. Like it's an urgent care, but it's not an urgent care that doesn't know who I am. They have all my doctor's charts, and I have this history of getting these disgusting, I'm going to gross you guys out, these disgusting peritonsillar abscesses in my throat. I don't get them that often. It's really rare, but they're extraordinarily painful. And because I've had them, I'm more prone to get them. And so I don't want that to be the case. So when my throat hurts bad enough that I go to the doctor, that's my concern. But I don't know that I need antibiotics. What I need is steroids because it's so painful. I can't swallow. I can't breathe hardly. I can't eat. It's so painful. And so the kid's like, does a strep test, and the funny story is, guys, even when my throat was like pushing pus out of this huge massive abscess in my throat, you could see it, it still tested negative for strep, so it doesn't mean anything. But whatever. The kid's like, well, you're negative for strep, and you don't have lymphadenopathy. And I go, you didn't even check my lymph nodes, bro. And he's like, yeah, I did. And I was like, oh my god. Anyway, I left. But I have a sister who's a physician, and God bless her. She called in some steroids for me, guys. And after, it's a tapering like 5-day pack, like a Medrol dose pack. But after taking 30 milligrams, I only hurts to yawn. I can eat, I can drink, I can talk. So I know drugs, they got a lot of problems. But when your throat hurts like that, yay steroids. Because Benz, you had a lot of good ideas, but the only thing I had that you had was like this cumin, and it's been the cumin oil, and it's been snowing today like several inches, so I just wasn't, but this worked, so there you go. This is very cool. I guess people don't see things very quick some days, and so I had to repost it, and then all of a sudden it filled up. So I had this 2 ounce round, so that means I don't have a great, this isn't the best picture, I have another picture of it, but it's 2 ounces, and it's got the Second Amendment on it, and then this little Trump 45 bullet in the box in the case says come and take it. So I thought that'd be perfect to go together. So that is closed now, and I have another one up. I'm gonna raffle this really quick, and then we'll talk some funner. This is fun to me, but funner is not a word, whatever. I've got a new Molon Labe 2 ounce round raffling right now too. And I didn't mention this because I keep forgetting, but whoever wins this raffle, if you want a spot on the membership and you win this silver, you get to have that if you want it. There are no extra dollars. I've been trying to do satellites and I keep forgetting to put it on there. It's just included. All right, so 10 people, draw 10, drum roll. Couldn't have done that earlier this morning. Thank you, steroids. It's not always so easy. Hey, Matt won. And Matt, you know what's great news is even though I messed up, oh, my volume could go up. All right. Even though I messed up with Matt and his spots, he would have still won with this particular spot. So good job, Matt. So that means Matt wins more silver. Good thing I didn't nail the last silver you won, because I can send that and a spot. And Matt, since you're in there in the comments, would you tell me, these are the spots I got you on number 1 and number 11 because you won the other one. So the numbers that are left are 5, 6, 8, 10, and 12. So just if somebody sees, or if you'll put whatever number you want. Oh yeah, you wanted it and you won it. So there you go, bro. Okay, he'll tell me in a second. This is fun news. So I'm going to start with the Vatican and the Beast is what I'm calling it. So the Vatican launches. It's only $110. Your smart rosary bracelet that tracks your prayers, guys, and you can hang it up and charge it on your charging port, and then you can put it, I believe, probably on your wrist, or maybe you got to do it in a circle. If that's, I mean, that's how you usually do the rosaries. You go around in the decades, but I'm going to read it real quick, Benz, and then you can talk about what you think. The Vatican has launched a $110 e-rosary in a bid to encourage tech-savvy Catholics to pray, and launched Tuesday from the Vatican, guys. This isn't from like somewhere else. It's from the Vatican. The wearable smart device links an app. Whoa, I lost my spot. Designed to teach users how to pray with rosary beads. It teaches you too, in case you don't know. The e-rosary, available on Amazon as well as the Vatican's own website, can be worn as a bracelet and is activated when you make the sign of the cross with it. It's so smart. What do you think of this, Benz?
Oh my goodness. Another form of control, another form of tracking. This is getting ridiculous now. This it's just another form of tracking and control, of another thing to use against us. So if someone's not praying, they can tell that they're not praying and use that against them. So Catholics do the rosary. A long time ago, I was I was Catholic, but then I was Lutheran, and then as Lutheran, going to a Catholic church, going to a Catholic school, actually. And so at the Catholic school, they send you to the Mass and everything, because that's part of going to school. So as a Lutheran, I was going to this Catholic church that I had actually gone to as a child. And so I remembered everything that was there. I was like, wow, I've seen all this stuff before. And but they do the rosary, but this is just, I mean, I can see all sorts of things going wrong. I mean, it can track where people are. They can track what they're doing, where they're going. You know, much less of a thing of like how much, how often are you praying, and more like, what is this person doing? I wouldn't be surprised if there's a microphone on it.
Oh, there's got to be, right?
Yeah, there's got to be a microphone. I mean, definitely a tracking.
Yeah, it detects movement.
Tracking.
It's detecting movement and stores data.
Yep.
And of course, you can check. You can click different Catholic prayers that you want to do. You get the app attached to your phone, of course, with it. And there's several prayer options. It can be English, Italian, or Spanish. And the Vatican launched the device under the Pope's Worldwide Prayer Network. And it's Click to Pray Scheme. They even said scheme in the article. A digital network that connects people around the world for prayer. This project brings together the best of the church's spiritual tradition and the latest advances of the technological world. And there's, you know, it's on your forearm. So there's a mark if I ever saw one.
Oh boy. It's just getting closer and closer.
Closer and closer to what, Benz?
They're just getting closer and closer to the actual chip. They're just trying to normalize that, I think. It's, you know, they want to track people, so what better way to get all the, you know, a huge religion like the Catholics involved in wearing something that's going to be right there on their arm, getting signals, sensing what they're doing, getting all sorts of data that they can use to figure things out with. And like, you know, kind of like that next, one of the articles further up, that one guy, you know, something like that.
Oh, yeah, we'll see. Yeah, so we'll see that here in a second. If you're going to go big, go home, right, with that. I'm just typing something that I can't type and do something else at the same time. Yeah, so what it was funny is I get a lot of these articles from Canary Cry News Talk, and Canary Cry News Talk is Gonstremer from Face Like the Sun. And I don't know who Basil is or what his last name is or anything like that. But it's pretty funny. They titled theirs Never-Go-Full-Cyborg, because this name of this article is Scientist with Motor Neuron Disease Turning Himself into Full Cyborg. So I'll read a little bit of it. This scientist was diagnosed with also called TMN, or Terminal Motor Neuron Disease, hopes to transform into the world's first true cyborg. He's a doctor, apparently. He was given until this year to live after his diagnosis. is endeavoring now to replace all of his organs with machinery. He's had his voice box removed, and his voice has been recorded and installed in a catheter. Wait, oh no, sorry, the voice was just recorded. He's had installed a catheter, a colostomy bag, and a feeding tube so that he no longer eats or excretes. He moves around in a specially designed electric wheelchair that allows him to be seated, standing upright, or lay down. Well, that's kind of convenient not to ever have to go to the bathroom, I suppose, a little bit. Anyway, right side. Silver linings. Recently, he's created an avatar of his own face so that he'll still be able to use a range of facial expressions as the disease progresses and he loses control of his facial muscles. Scientists who lives in this place called Torquay with his husband, because of course that's not unusual that he's homosexual, will control the avatar with artificial intelligence that resembles his own face.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. He was struck down with the wasting disease. He did all this even before he was struck down with the wasting disease, apparently. Oh, he'll look the way he did before the wasting disease. There are also other machines within the home, such as a hoist, moving bed. He controls with his own eyes, and he's committed to the task. He had a procedure recently that saw him lose his physical voice, a laryngectomy, in exchange for potentially years more life. You see, now that he's got a voice box, now that he's not got a voice box, saliva can't enter his lungs and cause him to suffocate. If he's laying down, he can't choke on his own spit, basically. So, there you go. The day before the procedure, he declared the end of Peter 1.0 and the beginning of his life as full cyborg Peter 2.0. He announced, "This is my last point as Peter 1.0. Tomorrow, I trade my voice for potentially decades of life." It's very repetitive. But he says, "I'm not dying. I'm transforming. Oh, how I love science." And it certainly gets better. I'm about to be turned into 2.0. When I say 2.0, I mean cyborg. And when I say cyborg, I don't mean any old cyborg. You understand. But by the far most advanced human cybernetic organism ever created in 13.8 billion years, okay? I'm scheduled to become the world's first. He says full cyborg so often that he really wants you guys to know he's going full cyborg. Almost everything about me is going to be irreversibly changed, body and brain. And yeah, so Matt asked how this funded. I don't know. He's a doctor, I guess. His husband. Maybe they get like money for being gay.
Yeah.
But he goes on. I want to say this last quote because it's super gross.
Yeah, go ahead.
He says, "From then on, I'll be part hardware, part wetware, part digital, part analog." And everybody says wetware means that's when they're killing you. And I'm like, actually, it's become the new term for what he's saying, transhumanism. But it's also been used by Hillary Clinton back in the 90s when they were talking about using us as their wetware, like their DNA storage way back then. And then real quick, even finish last sentence, says, "And it won't stop there. I've got more upgrades in progress than Microsoft. Mine isn't just a version change, it's metamorphosis."
Yeah, so, let's see. There's so many things on this. Guarantee you someone is paying for this and someone is sparing no expense to allow this guy. And he's going to be their little guinea pig on seeing how they can do this and make it work. And I'm guessing they're going to try real hard to make it work, because once they figure out how to do this, then they can do it with anyone.
Yep.
And so,
yeah, that's right.
Yeah, then they're going to use him as an experiment so they can mass produce. That's what I'm thinking is going to happen.
Like cattle or, egg harvesting and things like that. Basically like the Matrix, because they're already talking about having babies in pods.
Yeah, and here's something to think about. Imagine how easy it probably is to actually cure his disease. Imagine how easy it probably is. Imagine it's probably some I don't know, like a fungus or something that he's infected
probably.
with, and someone probably knows about it and won't tell him, and he's probably able to be easily fixed just because no one's done the research as to what's causing a lot of these things. He's probably been eating all sorts of GMOs. He's probably infected with a couple different types of funguses. He's probably got some sort of other diseases from some of the proteins or bacteria that we pick up from the foods we eat, the worms we get. Maybe someone gave him this idea.
Yeah, they're like, "Oh, we'll pay for it."
Yeah. I mean, I can see this going all sorts of wrong, all sorts of wrong. I mean, you talk about Terminator. Oh my goodness, all sorts of.
Well, yeah, and you think again? There was a movie. God, I don't remember who told me watch it. Oh, and it was Whitey Rants, but he's indisposed lately. Anyway, he told me to watch it. I can't remember what it's called, but again, I mentioned it last time, I think, because it was this movie about these super creepy. These soldiers go off to, like, I don't know, Italy or something, and these creepy killer ghosts, or they look like ghosts. They're killing like everybody in their
Oh
path.
yeah,
Yeah, and
yeah. They're it's coming from like these people who have their souls trapped in the
yes,
machine or something like that.
yes,
Yeah,
and they have
yeah.
like
I know. And
3D printed
they kill
their.
them by freezing them. Yeah,
Well, and then they do what they do is they like upload their mind to the cloud, right? And then they 3D print their
yep,
spinal cord and brain, and then the body is actually out there looking ghostly, but it's being used from that very place where they're got their brain uploaded.
yeah, yep. They're all being
And of course, they look like they're in pain, and so they're all like, and then they have that moment of we shouldn't kill them because they're human lives, and he's like, but they're not. And that was the point where I brought up like Revelation, I think 9:6, where they said there'll come a time when men will want to die and they're living eternally and they cannot die. That is possibly
yeah,
one of the things that could be referring to.
yeah. When all this stuff starts really coming out, I mean, think about it. It's predictive programming, right? It's
Right.
just getting us ready. Like movies like that and technology like this, it's all predictive programming to get us ready for
Do you
what they have planned.
do you remember the name of that movie?
No, I don't remember it, but I remember watching it. Oh gosh.
Yeah, it's one word. It's like the something, like the something.
No,
It's
I
not
think
gonna
it was a
help at
sci-fi
all.
channel movie.
Oh yeah,
I think it was a
maybe.
sci-fi channel movie, maybe.
I'm pretty sure it was on Netflix too. And I all I know is how to describe it as these. It's like these. It's military, right? Military is going into these like
Yep.
abandoned cities that have been it starts it's one thing and nobody believes them, and then this guy's like, no, the only they're ghosts or they're evil or something. And of course, in real life, I love watching these
Yeah.
things. I love watching these things going. If they only knew Jesus Christ. Now this is a little bit different because it comes from. I mean, they had like a whole scientific reason for how these creatures could go out there.
Yeah.
It was some, yeah, like you said, they're frozen. I mean, it
Was it
actually sounded
like
logical.
freezing stuff or something like that, or they're like a cloud of
Yeah.
frozenness or something like that? Somehow,
Yes.
a computer that was making it happen
Yeah.
and using their intelligence as a form of artificial, or they were using like actual human intelligence, but then controlling how they acted, how like what they went after.
Yeah.
So
And
like the computer would choose a target, and then the mind would search out the person and attack them, but they couldn't control what they were making their entity do.
well, and the reason it killed people immediately because it looks like it could just rush through you and steal your soul and you're dead. But it was like freezing them and burning them at the
Yeah,
same time, and it was some kind of chemical reaction that they discovered because they knew. Oh, didn't Joe's uncle
yeah.
work it up at that plant? And they were doing this, they were doing that. And Julie's now asking me who's in it. I don't even know who's in it. I don't know who's in it.
Yeah, I don't remember. I remember it was like a military unit goes in, but they're like it's like a everyday normal military unit. Like if me and a bunch of other guys gotten some Humvees and rolled up on the site, and like it's a high tech weapons firm, and like we're
Right.
not prepared at all. Like we run around with M4s, and they got like something
Oh,
not even on our level.
and I remember that iron was a problem for them, and I was like, there you go, more of the truth in plain sight.
Oh yeah,
They couldn't get through the iron.
yeah, because they would go through it, but they would hit the Humvees and smack the Humvees, but they couldn't like get through it right away, and
Yeah,
or something like that. Yeah, they were hitting the Humvees and smacking them around.
I'll never be
I
able
mean,
to
the fact that they could
remember.
actually smack around.
Yeah, I'm trying to look at like see if it's on a list of something I don't have a clue. It's been kind of a while since I would have watched it. So I don't even know. But anyway, it'll come to me in the middle of the night, like 3 a.m. I'm sure, and I don't remember what it's called. It's like bugged me too. All right, but let's move on to this one, and I'll try to think of it. Scientists get the green light to bring back the dead to life with stem cells. So this should be exciting. Biotech company BioQuark has been given the green light to resurrect the clinically dead using stem cells. They are attempting the reversal of death. U.S. biotechnology company called I already read, well, basically the same thing. They hope to eliminate patients' need to rely on machines by reanimating parts of the spinal cord where the lower brainstem is located and potentially energize vital body functions like breathing and heartbeats. Do you ever look at this? Like, this isn't them trying to help us. This is their science experiment. You see what I'm saying? Uh-oh. Spin's
yeah.
Oh, there he is. Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, this is, oh man, it's just, they're just messing with stuff. They're just seeing what they can do now. They just have no care. This is the mind of the serpent seed. This is exactly what they are, who they are, what they do. I keep going back to serpent seed.
But it's true. It does go all the way back to the garden.
Yeah, because they don't care. They act like God doesn't exist. Because what was it? Zen Garcia was talking with Joy Pugh.
Yeah. P-U-G-H-E. P-U-G-H-E.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay. So he was talking with her, and she was saying that when you take an egg and you fertilize it with a sperm, and someone else is talking about this too. When you take an egg and you fertilize it with a sperm, it creates an electric spark of some kind that creates life. And that egg develops into a human, right? Now, what they said was when you try to do a clone, the clone does not actually have a soul. The clone is like a beast.
Like the golem.
And also, she goes deep into a lot of this stuff, studying a lot of things. She's well versed in a lot of stuff, including like the science type stuff, some of the science fiction stuff that they talk about, like Tesla, how things are all interconnected, and even Zen Garcia was during this interview. I think it's the recent one. But during this interview, Zen Garcia even brought up how Mud Fossil University was showing all these, the giants, but also I think he was showing like some of the golems, like they didn't like some of the golems were. They had. I know he was showing the foot pads at Mud Fossil University. He was showing the foot pads of these golems, but it's kind of a weird thing. But then Joy was saying there were also not only like the golems didn't have a soul, obviously it was a construct, but they also had some sort of being that was running around that was like, so there's the human, and then there was like the one step down from a human that was kind of like, more like a, what would you call it? Kind of similar to like how the Neanderthal was pictured as
like a werewolf or something.
No, more like the caveman type guy. But it's like like there's a Homo sapien, but then maybe like the Homo erectus or something, like the one step down, one step.
So they're saying that did exist.
Yeah, so it might have been that there's one of these, then there's a whole bunch of different types of that. Like they found a whole bunch of different skeletons of this like distant relative of humans, as they say. If you look at the evolution side of it, and they talk about how we went from apes and then it went along and eventually became humans. Well, somewhere along that chain, there's a whole bunch of different types of one of those in the middle, right? But then there's very few sparse ones in between apes and in between humans from there, right? So I'm thinking there was one of those that was, and what he describes it as is a beast. Like Joy was saying, it specifically, it's a type of beast. It was like the beasts of the of like regular animals running around, right? And this was just an upright walking beast. It looked similar to us. It worked the fields kind of as a slave, like a beast of burden, but it looked somewhat human-like. And so these, I guess the sons of Cain and like the serpent seed, they ran off and they were doing their own thing. I guess they were using these beasts, some of them as mates, and they were mating with them, and they were like blending with these beasts and creating like some sort of other offspring, some other hybrid or something. And that makes me wonder, like maybe there's some sort of weird goings on that was happening where we have these okay, so there's some of those skeletons that they find, which are like one or two of the skeletons that are of a certain link in between, and and so there's one of these skeletons that are scattered here and there throughout the link in between. There's only like a few of them, and so I think they're some of the crossbreeds that were found in the middle.
Okay, well, that kind of segues into this article here about Google Earth uncovers giant skull.
So, oh yeah. That's an.
The Nephilim were
that's Florida.
What's that?
Oh, that's Florida Marquis. That's Florida Marquis. I'm subscribed to him.
What is?
Because actually, the video, that's from.
Oh, it's from his.
That's actually from a guy named Florida Marquis.
Oh, okay.
Marquis.
Yeah.
Florida Marquis.
Should we play it? It's like 36.
Further down.
Oh, it's further down.
Sure, you want to go?
No.
It's the top one.
It's not the top one? It is the top one.
No, the top one works. Yeah, the top one works.
Okay. Let me do that.
I have spent hours and hours and hours finding. The allegation from my trolls that the vast majority of Antarctica is wind, ice, rock, and snow, they're absolutely right. I just don't share.
Oh, I'm.
So that's not it.
Sitting here watching the YouTube, and I got your YouTube channel up on one of my screens, and I forgot there's a delay.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, a bit of a delay. It's like 4 seconds maybe, but that's still enough to be weird. So I'm gonna listen. I'm gonna play this. I got 18 more seconds here. I was gonna see what he says here.
Yeah, you can see it like down the bottom, the base of that.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, okay.
Don't find a single thing.
Yeah, for a while I was trying to figure out where it was because he wasn't actually pointing at it. He wasn't circling around.
Yeah.
He was just saying, "Hey, it's right there." And like, no, I was looking, where is it? Where is it?
You're right. I could not see that at first. I was looking at this, and I'm like, that doesn't look like a skull. So does he say on?
Maybe
he's got his dimensions on there or anything? Oh, it does. It has stuff at the bottom.
There he goes. Yeah, at first I didn't see it until he did that, and then I was like, oh, yeah, there it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, as soon as he starts to move and zoom in, and then puts the hand over it. Yep. That's funny.
Yep.
Okay, let's see what the article says.
Yeah. When I first saw it, I thought maybe he was saying that whole dark spot, the dark area was like an eye hole.
Yeah,
like,
right? That's really weird. Well, it says it's about a 24-foot skull, so I'm going to read the article really quick. All right, an eagle-eyed Google Earth user has bizarrely claimed to have found a giant skull in Antarctica. He's so bizarre. What a loser, this bizarre YouTuber.
Listen to the wordage that they use. Like when you're reading it off, look at the words they.
Yeah, so the clip, which was uploaded to YouTube, seemed to reveal the bizarre skull measuring 24 feet laying on top of the ice. It seemed to reveal. In the video, a dark plot of mountainous ice is seen. On the lower right-hand side of the cold object, a mysterious... were we seeing it backwards? Because it was my lower left, but... white blur as the conspiracist zooms in and the object begins to form into the shape of a giant skull. The conspiracists claim the skull belonged to the Nephilim. According to Genesis 1-4, the Nephilim were the offspring of the sons of God and the daughters of men before the deluge flood. Yeah, they're not saying much good about him in this. The YouTube conspiracists, you're right there, the Florida Marquee. Go ahead.
Yeah, so they're saying Nephilim, but it's actually, well, a lot of people say the Nephilim, but I believe, well, I don't know how, like 24-foot tall skull, how big of a giant that would be, but the men of renown, which I guess are part of the Nephilim, but the men of renown were the ones from the sons of God and the daughters of men.
The Nephilim were actually, as I understand it, the fallen angels.
I think Nephilim covered like all the half breeds, so it might just be those giants, and then like the Cyclops and all the shorter ones that, from 8 foot tall and on upwards and stuff like that.
Okay.
Because there's actually there's an island, I forget where it is. It's an island off the coast of, like, I don't know, Italy or somewhere in southern Europe. There's an island that is full of giant graves. It's got giant sized castles, like the buildings, the mountainous areas are actually castles, and they're giant sized castles, and everyone just ignores it, but because they can't explain it. I mean, obviously these things were built for very large stature men, and yeah, there you go, mud fossil giants. Yeah,
this is
it just now.
Wait.
Yeah.
Am I on the right one? Or am I? I'm not on the right one. Okay, I just should type in giants.
The one with the test tubes. The one with all the test tubes. Mud Fossil University. There's all the little.
Mud Fossil University. Okay. I'm listening to the city on the island of Italy, though. Oh, that's it. Okay, I see it. I got it.
Yeah, I'm waiting for it.
Yeah, I know. I'm gonna ask you anyway, though, because eventually you'll see.
Yeah, it'll come up eventually. Right now, I'm seeing you type in university.
Yeah, that's more of a delay than I thought.
Yeah, there it is. Hey, you got the right one. 10 seconds later. yeah, it's a delay.
Well, we got it now. Wait, what were you saying about the island?
Oh, yeah, so there's an island that has like all these graves for all these giants, these basically Nephilim. It's a whole group of them that were living there. They built castles. They built up the island, and they were trading with all the people around the area. And I think the Phoenicians were involved with them, or they were the Phoenicians or something. I don't remember what exactly it was. I don't even remember the name of the island. But there was, I remember reading a report on it. Someone had written some stuff up about how it was like all these like large buildings, like castle-like structures, but kind of more like built out of the mountain or something like that, or built like they were built as a mountain or something. That it looked kind of like, I see in some of the pictures, it looked kind of weird. It's not like a normal type of like castle that you would see, but it's still, you consider it a type of castle, just not what we're used to in like Europe and stuff. But there were a lot of grave sites. They were digging up, doing archaeology there, and they kept opening these graves and finding giant skeletons over and over and over again. And they're like, what the heck is going on? These are massive skeletons. These are not like normal people. And I think at some point they just stopped the archaeological dig. Like someone came in and stopped them and told them they couldn't do it anymore because they were digging up too much of the past.
Yeah, of course. That's got to be against the rules.
Yeah. It's like there's a game out there called Vampire the Masquerade, and some of you guys might know about this. And it's a game. There's a series of games that all go together. It's like Vampire the Masquerade, Werewolf the Apocalypse, Mage the Ascension, Changeling the Oblivion, I think. It's a series of games, and like you play a character. It's kind of like D&D, but the thing about the thing about Vampire the Masquerade is it's all about the masquerade. You don't stir the pot. You don't violate the masquerade. You got all these vampires who are masquerading as humans, and you don't lift that veil. You don't betray the masquerade. Yeah, there you go. And so yeah, so Steve, yeah, I've actually got it, but it's about you don't violate that masquerade. The masquerade is what keeps everyone safe. It's what keeps all of you alive. Because as long as people don't believe that you exist, they won't come for you. Because the vampires are a small number of creatures versus the humans, which are innumerable compared to them. And so if the humans ever learned of their existence,
that's what I was just going to say.
For them, yep, they would come for them and wipe them out. And so the masquerade, as thin of a veil as it is the one thing that keeps them safe. And so no one violates the masquerade. And if you violate the masquerade a certain number of times, they themselves will come after you and eliminate you to save themselves.
Right.
Stop you from getting everyone else turned on them.
Yep, you said exactly what I was going to say. I was going to speak to the whole, okay,
yeah. Well, it's the same thing we hear about today. It's the same thing, right? I mean, we've heard about this, right?
Well, like in the movie Ants, where there's more of us than there are of them in the movie Ants.
Oh, yeah. That's quite frankly, but Frank on his podcast, quite frankly, he plays that little clip. It's a series, but it's the part from the Ants. It says, what was it? Do you think we go there for the food? No, we go there to keep those ants in line. Because if just one of them thinks that they can stand up against us, then all of them will stand up against us. And those ants outnumber us 100-1.
Yep.
So you think we're going to let that slide? Heck no. We're going back. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't watch him because he swears. He swears so much. That guy swears a lot. Although I shouldn't say that because I watch Paul Romano, but Paul Romano doesn't always swear. I don't know. I guess I get it. I guess I'm okay with it with some people.
Oh gosh, I gotta stop watching him, but I watched Gray Still Plays, which is a YouTube video where he plays games. It's one of those ones where you said don't do it. You know, you watch a guy play games.
Okay, speaking of that, The Onion did a joke all these years ago, and they called it Second Player. It was Second Player video games, and it was a joke from The Onion, and it was people just listening to somebody like explain the game. And I'm like, that's pretty much what this is.
So when Gray Still Plays, what he does is he takes a game and he makes the worst decisions possible. And so like when the purpose of the game is to like win, he sees how bad you can lose. So he makes like he'll try to make like the worst choices you can make on a game. So
okay.
Yeah. So it's funny stuff. He's pretty.
Okay, well, to me, this is really funny, this second shooter thing, so I'm going to play it. It's only 2.5 minutes, but I don't have to play the whole thing, but it's really funny because I know you're not watching exactly this, but that's what it made me think of watching other people play games.
Yeah.
Wolfenstein.
Revolutionary second-person shooter mode. Bryce Markle has more in the Tech Trends Game Bite.
So I'll be watching. I'm watching the video you got running and the live stream and listening through here. So I'll see which one comes.
Well, listening should come up the soonest, and the live stream is a much longer delay because I forgot to set the latency on that. So I'm gonna play it now. So if you talk, you'll be talking over it.
the action. Bethesda designer Rashad Dunn says their new second-person technology improves on that.
Fighting Nazis, unleashing powerful weaponry. We took everything that makes Wolfenstein great and we really describe it to the player. To enter second-person shooter mode, you just simply pause it. Adjust the narrative slider from first to second.
You are walking down a long corridor. Suddenly, a Nazi leaps out from around a doorway and unleashes a hail of machine gun fire in your direction. You duck behind a marble pillar and select your pistol. You press X to shoot the Nazi with your pistol, and he falls down dead.
Beta testers are calling the second-person mode the ultimate immersive experience.
Dude, it was awesome. Like, I actually felt like I was there fighting Nazis. No other game has ever put me in the action that way. Seriously.
You find ammunition on the ground. This will be useful, you think to yourself.
The game's AI is really good at responding at what you're told you do, because
oh my goodness.
Find out if I survive this.
You get shot. You shoot back. You get shot again. You get shot again. You get
Oh
shot
my goodness.
Again.
My favorite part was when it switches to second-person passive voice.
Second-person passive voice.
Like, it switches.
Okay.
A grenade is thrown.
Reminds me of
They just, like, did it.
watching or listening to like
addition to
someone
the
reading a
thrilling
book,
action,
like audiobook.
The game comes out.
Yeah, well, here's the funny part is they decide they're going to try doing, you know how first-person shooter came out with multiple players? This is funny.
A multiplayer experience.
They've got like 4 people just listening to it echoing and talking out loud to all of them. And they're all holding controllers to do absolutely nothing. No, it's so funny to me. And that's what it made me think of, because I'm like, it's like, oh, it's a second shooter game style where you just watch other people do it the whole time. I guess it's not a dude in a chair with a British accent, but I mean, I thought it was pretty similar. Pretty funny.
Oh yeah, that was good. All 4 of them sitting there on the screen.
Yeah. And it's just
They're
echoing.
all like talking over each other.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's all talking. You can't even understand any of it. And then like and then they're all just sitting there holding their controller like they're just sucked into it and they can understand what the hell's even going on. Like, okay.
Oh, that is good.
Yeah, The Onion doesn't. I don't think they do any new videos, but man, like they've had some really funny ones. Like they had the autistic news anchor. They could do that today. It's the autistic news anchor. he's
Oh my goodness.
he's like really not the best news anchor. The autistic reporter. That's what they call him.
Oh my goodness.
Have
Have you seen the one where they do the like Congress, and where they're reading off like a what was it? I remember a whole bunch of people got sucked into this one. It was like back in 2002, and they did it was like a news, like they were recording a session of Congress, and someone was reading off a paper where it was all these redactions, and it was like, in the event of redaction, last man shall be redaction, and they will notify redaction, and if redaction is no longer alive, they will notify redaction, and in the event of the worst case redaction, like, it's like they were reading off like a zombie apocalypse scenario, but it was all these redactions. You could tell what it was.
Oh, but they just kept saying redaction, and that's funny. Well,
there's all these redactions.
was that The Onion?
Yeah, it was The Onion, but a lot of people, that was back when The Onion first came out, and or like they'd been out for a little while, but before they became big, that was when they really hit the big time, because people were sharing that one around, and people were freaking out. Like, people were really freaking out until people started pointing out, hey, there's a little onion span instead of a C-span there.
Yeah. Well, the funniest part, I think the funniest one on the autistic one is when he like interviews this guy in prison, and he's like really just wants to be in prison.
Joins us now.
I'm gonna play it real quick because it's pretty funny, because he like really He starts talking to the guy in jail, and he's like starts to want to be there. So I'm gonna play it really quick. It's pretty funny.
Is living in prison different from living in a 40,000 square foot mansion in Westchester?
Yeah, it's different.
How is it different from living in a 40,000 square foot mansion in Westchester?
Well, it's every second of my day is accounted for. It's just day after day of rigid
space.
Rigid routine.
Rigid routine.
What is the rigid routine?
Well, we get up at exactly 6 a.m.
Yes.
Exactly 6:15 a.m. Everyone is counted.
Counted.
Yeah, we have to line up 7 times a day
Line
to
up.
be counted.
Line up and be counted.
And then there's the food. I never tasted such terrible food.
How long do you have to stay in the line?
We have to walk in lines everywhere.
Do you have to make that line straight?
Oh, yeah. Well, frankly, I always thought you didn't have to do anything in prison, but we have a work detail, and it's hard. Just yesterday, I spent the entire day stacking crates, just one on top of the other.
I like to stack.
I like to stack.
You do?
I like to stack crates. Stacking crates.
Like freaking out.
It's hard work.
Yes. Stacking crates.
Yeah, I'm watching it right now.
I don't complain, but
One on top of
I
another,
realize
on top
what
of
I
another,
did
on top
was
of another, on
wrong.
top of another.
I just want to serve my time, and maybe I can get out of
He's
here
rocking more and more.
Why do you want to stack?
for my family.
Stack your family.
Can you stack your
No, you
I
don't.
want to be in prison.
No, you don't. It takes its toll on you. Well, you wear the same clothes every day,
Yes.
and you live in this tiny little box,
Yes.
and
Yes.
and there's hardly any human contact.
How do I get to live here?
No,
How do I get to live here? I need to go to prison now.
I don't think you understand.
Now.
See, this is a scary place. I
Now.
mean, sure, there are normal guys like me who are in here for embezzling and fraud, but
that takes too long.
we
I need to go
also
to prison
have
now.
violent offenders.
now.
I mean, the guy in the next cell over, he robbed the convenience store and shot the cashier.
Robbed a convenience store.
Yeah,
And
so,
shot the cashier. Shot
you
the
know,
cashier. Okay.
I mean, it's a
Make sure the
scary
cashier's
place.
dead.
It's rough.
Make sure the cashier is
How do I get to live here?
I need to go to prison now. He's like, well, there's bad guys in here, embezzlement. Probably goes, no, that takes too long. I need to go to prison now. Okay, so totally off topic, but we're getting close to the hour anyway. But JP is telling me I need to give a wrench to Revel because that would show respect, and I'm going to respond out loud to you, JP, that I show Revel a lot of respect. And you guys go on your channels and you wrench every freaking person, and you don't know who any of them are. So no. I'm not going to do that to show my respect. He comes in on a different account every single time, so yeah, it's cool. He'll be all right.
Oh,
Revel
yeah,
can hang.
no point to give him a wrench because he's always coming in a different account.
Yeah, which he says, which I understand why he does it, because he gets apparently unsubbed from certain accounts on a regular basis, so he'll go into these other accounts so that he can get notifications, but then he doesn't remember he's on that account, so then he comes in, nobody knows who he is.
Oh.
So anyway, I'm not going to wrench everybody that comes on. In fact, I didn't wrench anyone for the longest time, and James was the only person that had a moderator. I don't just sit here and be like, I need to let everybody mod. You know, I don't. Then chat doesn't flow that fast here. Like I could keep a pretty good eye on it, but anyway, I think it's all good.
Yeah, maybe it comes on the main account or something like that.
Yeah, well, right, and plus, yeah. Plus, it's like he'd have to be there generally on a regular basis, and if he's not getting even the notifications, it doesn't help to make him a mod, because then he can't be there anyway because he doesn't know that we're on.
He looks like Stephen Colbert. Colbert with the Colbert Report.
I don't know who
The
looks
Colbert
like Steve.
Report.
Oh, the kid looks like Steve. They're talking about the autistic kid. Okay, I was like, who?
Oh yeah, he does. Okay.
Yeah, they're still behind. I need to fix that delay. Yeah. I can fix it. I can fix it to almost real time, and I forget almost every time. So that's cool. Hey, but you know what? Do you mind saying a prayer tonight for us to close it down and just give us a nice little send off? You don't have to, but if you're willing.
Sure.
Great. Awesome.
Dear Heavenly Father, we thank Thee for all that Thou hast done for us, for the good times and even for the bad times. We thank Thee for the learning experiences that You've given us. We thank Thee for the friends we have made, and even for the losses we've had, that we might learn and we might grow. And we thank Thee for doing all these things for us. We ask that will bless us, that will forgive us, that will help us in our daily lives, help us in our goings on with each other, that we might bring peace, we might stop conflict. We ask for thy blessing and for thy help. We ask this in the name of thy Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Awesome. I appreciate it, because sometimes I feel like my prayers can get a little routine, and I'm just kind of saying, now while I mean it, I'm still can, like, I'll oftentimes start getting into a routine of a prayer, and people probably like, didn't we just pray this?
Yeah, so something about being LDS is we're taught to have unique prayers. Don't say one over and over again, which I'm sometimes guilty of, but we're taught to always make up your prayer as you go. Like, we're taught a structure to say it, and then we're taught you make it up from there. And in whatever it pertains to, anything that's coming to your head, usually whatever comes into your head. Because a lot of times things will pop up that you don't know about that needs to be prayed about. And when you say the prayer and you put that in there, it allows God to do his work and to make things happen.
Well, yep, and then you got, like, Revel and I, who had a lot of Catholic prayer memorized, but even then you can break down some of those prayers and make them longer and make them into more in-depth stuff specific to your situation. Even the Lord's Prayer, Our Father, you can spend time in each sentence of that prayer and just make it more personal. I've done that before too.
Right. The reason why we're taught not to say a set prayer, like we only have 3 set prayers in the whole church. All other prayers are, you make them up as you go. We have a certain structure to them, but then you make up how they're supposed to be, or how you want them to be after that. But the reason why is because if you say a set prayer over and over and over again, it starts to lose meaning, and you forget why you're saying it, what the purpose of it was. And so if you say a different prayer every time, it's according to what you need at that time, and not just a set prayer that you've forgotten the meaning of. It means something to you right then and there. And each prayer should be something different that means something to you right then and there at that point.
Well, there's also some things that I'm going to keep praying for the same every day, because I really want that thing. I'm going to pray, in earnest, those things.
Right.
So
right.
Some things might sound routine, but it's just something that hasn't happened yet, and I want to keep asking for God's will in it, but also, hey, can I have some of these things sooner than later? Please?
I've learned sometimes sometimes there's things going on that we don't understand, we don't know. And sometimes it's just like, I've seen things where I prayed for something and it didn't come, but something else happened.
Yeah.
And something changed and something better happened. And I got something better than what I originally asked for, that I actually needed instead of what I wanted.
You probably could have never imagined that on your own, but that's okay, because you're able to see it when it happens.
Oh, sorry. What
I was saying that you probably couldn't have imagined, the thing that you got. Like, it didn't occur to you that you needed it, so you didn't pray for it, but you got what you needed in your prayer request. And like you said, it's better. And because of your faith, you can see that and be appreciative of it. So,
yeah.
All right. Well, with that, go ahead. Finish your thought.
Oh, no, go ahead.
Well, with that, I'm going to remind everybody I have a new raffle up for this, the Molon Labe, and fill that up, and I got more Don't Tread on Me. I've got a Queen's Beast that some people will like. And anyway, I got that up, so let's fill her up, guys. And then I've almost got this membership raffle filled up. I got Matt on there 3 times. He's got a real good chance of winning. So congrats to that. Congrats to you, Matt. And thanks, Benz, for coming on. We have a good conversation together, and it's fun, so I appreciate it. Thank you for being here.
Hey, no problem. This This is my breakout into YouTube.
Yeah, maybe you'll start your. Are you thinking about starting your own channel?
You know, I thought it'd come up, but I wouldn't even know what to put on. I'm kind of creative, but kind of creative deficient as well. I can see the possibilities, but I can't. It's like I can build off of something else that someone else has made, but I can't really create my own. I'll get lost. I'll get stuck.
Well, feel free to help build off mine somehow if you want. I could use the help.
All right.
If you got ideas.
Red pills. Red pill just came on.
Oh, well, yep, this is the time that he comes on, so everybody can go on with that, and I'm going to go feed my kiddos and get them to bed and take care of myself and go to bed early. So have a blessed night, and have a blessed night, Benz. Thanks for coming.
All right, thank you. Yeah, no problem. Thank you. Anytime. Oh, unless I'm in the field.
Yes. Yep, I'll check in with you and see when you're available, but otherwise we thank you for being here, and we thank you for your service.
Oh, thank you. Just to put something out.
Yep.
An interesting thing.
Go for it.
So I'm being looked at to see if I have a sleep disorder or not. So I might possibly have narcolepsy.
Oh boy, yes, that is interesting.
Or just sleep deprivation. So they're looking at it to see what I have. So
obviously it's a little bit different than everybody else who's getting sleep deprived, so that's why they're looking at it. We'll be praying for you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, prayers for Ben's, guys, and you can always put that in the supplications in the Discord. I check it. Maybe not, and Brooke checks it. I guarantee you Brooke checks it. So, all right, guys. With that, I really am going. Have a good night.
Good night, guys.